going on? What's going on? Welcome to Confidence Factor Talks 2022. This is the best day ever. Why? Because I'm in the building. Oh, wait, I didn't tell you my name yet. You already know. Rudy LaRose in the building indeed. Welcome, everybody, to the show. It's about to be fire in here because we got some guests that's going to take it to another level, baby. So, if you're watching from wherever you're watching, make sure you put in the comment section what city you're representing. Listen, don't give me no area codes, zip codes, none of that stuff. I want to know the city that you're representing. Now, for some of us, you know, we might live in Orlando, but we really represent Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Like some of us, there's a little fine line, but let us know what city you're representing. And of course, if you're watching us on StreamYard or Facebook, rather, you need to add Facebook as part of your StreamYard. So do me a favor, go to www.streamyard.com/Facebook so that we can add Facebook comments so that we know who's commenting, right? So that's important. And if you're watching the replay, make sure you put in #replay so that we know that you are watching us on the replay. Man, I am excited for this show. I've been waiting on it, anticipating on it, thinking about it. It's about that hard work, baby. Not the hard work. It's about the hard work today. And this VIP we got coming on is no stranger to hard work, man. So I'm excited about the conversation we're about to have. But welcome, everybody. Y'all ready? Let's do this, man. We gotta bring our special guests. I'm sorry, we gotta bring our peoples on the line. See, I'm already excited about the special guests, but we gotta bring our peoples on the line. You already know, all the way from where the rodents never sleep. You know what I'm saying? The mouse, the duck. You know what I mean? All of them, they just never sleep. And so, all the way from the old, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the professor himself, Mr. Darian Hill in the building.
In the building. I'm feeling good. Hey, I got my background with me and the rolling.
I see that, bro. Look at this guy. You don't even know how to act. You don't even know how to act right now.
Man, I'm feeling special right now. I'm feeling special, you know, for a long time, fellas. You know, I've been trying to get like Rudy LaRose in the building, you know what I'm saying? And I'm finally in the building with my background in the building. So what's going on, Confidence Factor? I am excited to be here for another Confidence Factor Talks. Rudy, let's keep it rolling. Bring the other fellas up, man. We got an exciting show. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm indeed excited, man. And of course, we couldn't do this without some prescriptions. Okay, we not those type of prescription, y'all. I know what y'all thinking. You know, now we got a special type of prescription by this doctor because whenever he's in the building, it seems like everything just feels better. So I got to bring my man all the way from Jayville. That's Jacksonville, Florida. No, I'm not going to talk about how everything is 40 minutes away. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. No, sir. Tonight, I'm just going to bring him on. None other, Dr. Bobby B in the building tonight.
Yeah. What's up? Today is a great day, and it is the best day of my life. Man, you know what it is. You can't do nothing with yesterday. Tomorrow ain't promised. All you ever have is today. So I'm excited about it, man. We got a good guest tonight. And what's up, fellas?
Oh, man, it's good to be here, man.
This is
I need to get that shirt.
No, this is special. This is special right there, bro. I got the muscles. They packed in up under there. This is a special shirt, my friend.
This is the special shirt. Hey, this is the kind of shirt. You know how you go to New York and you got to go to underground joint to go back? Yeah. That's that underground joint. Man, one time I went to New York, them boys brought me to some van. I'm like, man, they could just kidnap me right now and nobody would know. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. They got lookouts and all the stuff, man. It's all good, man. But man, good to have you, Dr. B, in the building. Man, it's always a pleasure to see you, brother. Always a pleasure. All right. Without further ado, before my mic gets cut off, I gotta bring this brother on the show because, you know, hey, I have no choice. If it wasn't for this producer, extraordinaire. If it wasn't for the man himself, we would not be here today. I promise you guys. He makes the world better. He is the expression coach. And I'm telling you, my pictures have never looked so amazing because of this guy right here. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. My brother, Mr. Lamont Gwynn in the building.
What's up, fellas? What's up? What's up?
Let's go. What's going on, champion?
What's up? Heart level to you all. Heart level to you all.
Heart level,
Yes,
heart
sir.
level,
Yes,
heart
sir.
level.
Yes, sir.
We call this Heart Level Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying?
There you
Heart
go.
Level Tuesdays. Ah.
Yeah, we popping. Hey, I'm feeling really good, man. Now I feel like we take musical squares or something, man. I look over everybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, we got the backboard. Lamont,
Lamont, this guy right here.
Lamont. Listen, Lamont and Bobby got the white background. We got a black background rolling, man. Listen, you know, we stepping up, man. Life is better.
We stepping up, man. Listen.
We stepping up.
Wait. But let's go ahead and bring a man who's gonna mess it up right now. Watch it.
Hey, don't do him like that. Don't do him like that.
You're terrible, man.
We're make some noise for Dr. Javon Jones in the building. Hey,
level
up.
Hey, Javon.
First off, I don't think I mess it up. I think I bring balance because you got the light, you got the dark, you got me, the neutral, in the middle. What's going on?
What's up, baby boy?
Welcome to the show.
What's
I
up?
like that. My man said he bringing balance. He bringing light to the table.
I bring the light and the dark and bring them and combine them, and we create magic.
Hey, y'all,
quick,
fellas, y'all here, man. We here to talk about, of course, hard work, not hard work, but man, the man, Mr. Level Up, man, he hard working all the way around the world. He like a world changer. What's going on, man?
All the way.
First off, I gotta, I gotta go to the original world changer himself. My man Wayne Moody, he inspired me, so I had to go take the trip to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
No, not Puerto Rico, bro. It's Puerto Rico, man.
Puerto Rico.
I gotta say Puerto Rico. That was in I had a great time. Got to see a lot of San Juan. Got to do some catamaran excursions. I was on a private beach. Listen, I was out there, man. Listen, and I got the waves going, so I think the ocean was jealous of me,
Dr. Love, don't lie, Dr. Love. Did you get married in Puerto Rico, Dr. Love? Did you get married?
Married. Listen,
I love it.
I think that's kind of like one of the tough places to get married because there's a lot of distractions.
Well, hey, on that note, we don't want to get distracted. We're here to talk about success.
That's right.
Through hard work, not hard work. And we just want to acknowledge some of the fellas who are in the community. If you're watching us on live, put #live heart level. That's heart level, right? We're here to talk about success through hard work, not hard work. As you guys know, we've been taught from a young age about this thing called hard work. To be able to get to success in your life, you got to put in hard work. And I would agree that you still got to put in work and put in hard work. But the question is, I'm hearing some feedback. Feedback.
You're good. Go ahead.
You're good. Okay, fantastic. So, but the question is there an opportunity to put hard work, right, that leads to success? So success through hard work versus hard work. We're gonna have that conversation tonight with our special guest. But we're here in Confidence Factor Man Cave. And as you guys know, we have heart-level conversations that lead to transformation. We help men, entrepreneur-minded men, leaders, professionals, unleash their riches, right? And how do you unleash your riches? You unleash your riches by first starting with a conversation. We believe that one conversation, we believe that one book, your voice can transform lives. And just by showing up consistently in the Confident Man Cave, tapping in with us, tuning in with us, continue to invest in yourself, you can transform. So we're here to have these conversations. Our mission is to impact the lives of over 5 million men. You heard that right, 5 million men. And you are part of that solution, right? So every person we touch creates a ripple effect, and we get to accomplish our mission here in Confidence Factor. So we want you guys to share what we're doing in Confidence Factor. We are impacting lives, not just in growing our business, but growing our lives personally well. Recently, we highlighted one of our brothers, Chris Ward, who was able to rekindle, you heard of that right, rekindle a relationship, strained relationship with his son that he's had, hasn't seen for 5 years. And so we are celebrating the brother. This is what we do in this community. We don't look at our past. We look at how can we build a better future? How can we not allow our past to stop us, but be able to transform and be able to bond and build a better future? So we're celebrating him for his success in developing his relationship, because riches, unleashing your riches is not just about income. It's about your relationship. It's about your income. It's about your contribution to community. It's about your health. It's your education and your spirituality, which is the foundation of everything that we do. So it's time to unleash your riches, fellas. And so I want to let you guys know, of course, August 28th, this Sunday, we're about to unleash. What we're doing, fellas? We are unleashing, right? We're unleashing. What are we talking about? We are having our Unleash Your Riches Mastermind starting August 28th. Go to confidencefactor.com. That's confidencefactor.com and check it out. Tap in, tune in. We already have some amazing brothers that have already signed up, and this is going to be transformative. You see what happened with Chris, right? You see what happened with so many guys in the community where we are intentional about having these conversations. Magic happens. No matter what you're feeling, no matter how, you think that, you may not have much value or your life, may not be in the place that you want it right now. By being a part of this process, believe me, in the next 90 days, you will not be the same person. So just want to encourage you to go to confidencefactor.com. That's confidencefactor.com. 90-day Unleash Your Riches Mastermind. It's going to be transformative, right? Let's go. So at the end of the day, one of the things we always talk about here is our principles in Confidence Factor. So we had heart level conversation that lead to transformation. But there are 3 things that we really focus on as our pillars to getting you to transform and be able to develop what we call your confidence factor. Number 1 is our self-mastery. We believe in investing in your self-mastery, right? Because your business, nothing else in your life will ever grow, will always grow to the degree that you grow. So you got to invest in you, right? Your mindset is critical, foundation to everything. Of course, after your self-mastery, you got to have that accountability. You got to have people in your corner to support you, to champion you on, to celebrate you, not just tolerate you, so you can keep moving forward. Winston Churchill says that success is the ability to go from failure to failure. I call it learning to learning without losing one's enthusiasm. So you got to have that accountability, people around you to keep you going in those tough times, in those learning times, in those growth times to get to success. And last but not least, you need the resources and tools so we can bring on our experts like we are doing today to talk about success in hard work, not hard work, to help you, give you the resources and the tools, the stories, the inspiration, the motivation to continue to move forward. So, fellas, I'm excited about today's talk. Let's get this thing rolling. Yeah.
Man, I just love this topic, right? Because everything from the heart. Because the moment that we focus on the heart, we create what's around us. And we got to learn that if we leave with our head, a lot of things become dead. If we lead our heart, everything comes together. Everything comes together. Nothing falls apart. So lead with our heart. I love this topic, man. let me say something a little bit later. I just love this topic.
I think it's important to know, guys, if you're watching, wherever you're watching from, I think it's important to know that, don't get us wrong, man. We work hard. I mean, we take care of our families. We love to get involved and do what we need to do, for our families, for our dreams and things like that. But there are certain elements to get to. There are certain levels to get to in your work, right? That without the hard work, it's very difficult to get to that. And there are also some aspect that when you get to certain places in life, if you haven't done the work with your heart, it becomes difficult to even stay in that space and stay healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, etc. So I love this topic, man. It couldn't be more on point, and I can't wait to have my man Arjuna to come in and spread the word about what he's doing in his community. So, guys, we ready?
Let's do it.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. This man needs no introduction. He is from Detroit. He has been doing his heart work for the longest time. He is a coach, a men's coach, empowers them to do some great things. I've had the opportunity to talk with him for a few minutes and really to resonate with what he's doing and realizing, like we talk about here in Confidence Factor, that we men, we don't talk. Right? But when we do talk, when we get to that space where we're able to articulate what's going on in our lives, and when we have people like Arjuna who can help us navigate through these things, it makes life so much easier. So I don't need to boost him up in terms of all his accolades, because he's here, and you get a chance to hear firsthand how he's been able to go from where he was in his life, near-death experience, to being where he is today. So, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Mr. Arjuna O'Neal in the building.
Man, Kings, it's a pleasure to be here. I just want to say, Dr. Love, I'm adding to that balance that you brought to the space.
I love it. I love it. Let's go.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Arjuna, man, good to have you here, brother. How you doing today?
Oh, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing to be here. No complaints. I think you shared, Rudy, the excitement. The excitement has been here. Darian, the excitement has been here. Just I was cruising through the page, just reading about all the work that you guys do, the lives you've touched, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you for taking the call, if you will. I know you're traveling, and I don't know if you're in Japan right now, if you're in Hong Kong, if you're in Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? The last time I heard you were around my way. Yeah. And I don't even know, but it's an honor to have you today. Today we want to talk about heart work, man, and we want to dig deep, and we want to have what we call here heart level conversation about that. But before we get into that, who is Arjuna O'Neal? Tell us about you, man.
What's that term we use? I'm the poster child of all the things that men of color can go through, right? I'm the poster child of all the things that men of color can go through and experience. But I'm also I'm a walking testimony, right? I'm a walking testimony to the things that have been the labels and the circumstances that have been placed on us with the intention that we don't see our way out. And so, without getting into the titles and the names, I'm a powerful, loving creator, right? I'm someone who can see an opportunity in the distress. I'm someone who will seek the heart in challenges. I'm someone who is here to learn and always be a student on the journey. And I'm someone here that also who's okay with being a hot mess, as we would say, and showing up authentically and learn as I go. So I'm here to be a student with all of you, powerful kings, and learn, and also just share my experiences.
That's really good, man. That's really good. So growing up, tell us a little bit about what that was like for you growing up, where you grew up.
Well, the name Arjuna comes from the Hindu tradition. So I was born and raised as a Hare Krishna. I don't know how many of you may ever heard of the Hare Krishnas. They used to show them back in the 80s in the movies. They would be congregate a group of mostly white men, women. It looked like they would be wearing sheets, jumping around, beating drums, and passing out stickers at mostly airports or Times Square, New York, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at the time, interesting plot twist. My father, as a young man, was part of one of the biggest drug organizations in Detroit in the 80s. But he also had met the founder who had brought the Hare Krishna movement from India to America in the 70s. So I was raised in that. I was raised in that belief system, but also a very street entrepreneurial style of life. So as a kid growing up, a lot of confusion. Didn't understand it because what I was taught spiritually didn't make sense on the lifestyle level of where we were living on the east side, the things that we saw, the drugs, the crime, and all the things, and the way we were dressed. So the food was different. So I was like an outcast throughout my family, in school, just in the public settings. So it was a lot of challenges. Early on, I experienced sexual abuse. I was abused by the babysitter sexually at 4. Tried to speak up on it. They poisoned me, left me for dead.
Wow.
Trauma started early. My father, my mother shared recently over the pandemic some information regarding her relationship with my father. They were married, but they split when I was 1. And so she shared with me at 6 months, he had handcuffed her to the bedpost where he raped her, abused her physically, and left her there with no food, water, things like that. So, trauma has always been something that's been a part of my story. And for a long time, I was ashamed of that. But as I started to grow up and having all these experiences, traumatic experiences, they always seemed like they were so extreme. So I would always be upset with God, like, why me? And I didn't understand how to express any of the things that I was experiencing, because at the time there were maybe 2 other Black families a part of this religion. So there was nobody I could just actually like walk up to and say, hey, what does this mean? How do I connect the dots? And nobody spoke to me about the lifestyle that I was experiencing outside of this spiritual community. So,
wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of pieces in there, but I'm gonna let the questions kind of.
No, that's good. No, that's perfect, man. So walk us through. Now you've experienced all these things. You're seeing all these back and forth going on, and you come to a point in your life. You're like, okay, something's got to change, right? Whether it's high school, college, or maybe no college, whatever. What is that? Where's that point for you? Where's that breaking point for you?
That's a great question. I think what I was very present with, I didn't have a lot of answers, but what I was really present with, Rudy, was how I was feeling in my body for all those years, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to articulate it. I didn't know much about the nervous system at the time. I just knew I always felt this deep angst. But I wasn't, at the time, I didn't have the education and the awareness that that's my nervous system being triggered every time I left with my dad, or every time we heard the gunshots, or seeing my relatives who were on drugs and the things that were happening. So staying in now having the awareness and knowing how to speak to it, living half of my life at the time in my sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, freeze, or survival, right? Mm-hmm. When you're in that state, the body automatically does what it needs to do to survive. So, growing up, when you're in school, we're taught to behave a certain way, respond a certain way, and think rational and make certain decisions for yourself. Well, when you're in the sympathetic nervous system and that's activated, the cognitive behavior mechanisms of the mind, all that stuff shuts down. So when you're in that state, you're not really thinking of how to make a better choice in this moment. When the teacher,
right,
you just respond in a mode of either survival or flight. So that was living like that for so long, I could start to feel it weighing on me. And I used to try to talk to my mother about it, but the only thing that would come out was tears. I would cry. And she, at that time, single mom, stressed, working all these jobs, she didn't understand that. So when she heard the cries and the tears, it was more of, what we were taught growing up. Suck it up, stop crying, deal with it, sort through it. This is how it is.
Right.
And, yeah.
So go ahead, June.
No, I was going to just say, so having that, now this is my caretaker, who I feel like I'm having resistance, and there's a battle between the way I'm showing up, what I'm feeling, and me trying to articulate to my mother, and the whole circumstance and the surroundings, plus the family and all the teasing and the judgments and the shame from looking like someone that didn't belong in this environment.
No.
And that was what in high school? Were you in what?
So that was all the way through elementary school. So by the time high school hit, I had had some situations with my father that were pretty heartbreaking to me at the time. I had to, from the trauma of being sexually abused and the way I was acting out towards women, all of my teachers were women teachers. I didn't understand why I was so rebellious, why I was so agitated, why I was so angry and aggressive. What I learned by high school, I had to attend special ed in order to go to school based on just my behavior. So they just wrote it off as as another thing, and you need to be in special education. Nobody really asked me what was happening, what was going on. So there now, I took it personally. You know, and so from that point forward, I made it a vow to just rebel, to show people let me show you what I'm going through. Instead of me, talking doesn't work. I didn't know how to talk about it. So let me show you. I had a therapist who I felt like at the time baited me, female therapist, certain questions asking me about how I felt about my father, the pain that I was feeling. So I told her the truth. She said, well, would you ever hurt him? I said, yeah. She said, how? I said, well, with the same Glock 9mm that he got me for graduating from elementary school instead of the car that I asked for high school.
Wow.
So, of course, she had to mandate that, right? Mandate reporter. So I get admitted to a mental institution on the west side of Detroit at the time. I remember they called my mom and said, hey, in Detroit, him being labeled as a mentally ill patient with a firearm, the police told my mom, like, well, if you don't turn him in within 24 hours, if we see him, we most likely will kill him. So of course, yeah. So of course she broke down. She turned me in, turned 17 in a mental institution. So that's where things really shifted for me, right? Because I had all all the stereotypes that we hear. This is all I know because this is all I've seen and all the different things. But when I got to experience what went on inside of this mental institution, when I got to see how humans were treated, and I realized I was actually the minority in there. Right? It was full of white people at the time. So now I'm looking at these experiences totally different. It's opening my eyes to see how humans are being treated just in general. Certain things that we don't talk about, the way things are created. And so to experience being in an actual Bam Bam suit, in that padded room, seeing people, hurt themselves so they can get these drugs and all the different things, how they were coping. And just some of the things that we saw in movies, when they show the orderlies come in, like, when you see that in real life, it changed me. And I'll tell you more why it did, because I ended up doing 2 years in the county jail. I served time. And to me, out of all the experience that I've had, those few months in that mental institution were pretty, those stand out top tier.
Just 2 months, huh?
Yeah, because I was only supposed to go in for an eval, but my mother had to turn me in. But the way she did it, she had to lie to me to get me to turn myself in because she knew I wouldn't have done it. So at the time, as soon as we get to the door, I'm like, Ma, like you're the last person I could trust.
Right.
So that kind of, it almost like it validated my woman story of how women are just right. So now I'm like, oh well, shit. If Mom's is on the, it's all
that's it.
Out, I shifted into Tupac mode. Like, oh, it's me against the world.
Right. D, you had a question, Darren?
Yeah, man. Arjuna, wow. I mean, I'm just here listening to your story, man. And first of all, we honor you, man, and celebrate you for standing on your story, standing on your experience, and showing up for other people, man. I just want to give you that heart level acknowledgement right there. I mean, your story, it's so profound. I'm just in awe in some of the things that you're talking about. As you talk about shame, early on in your discussion, a lot of men go through things in their life, as your experience, different experiences where they feel some sense of shame. And as a result, they don't feel they have the right to show up. They don't feel they have the right or value to give. So how were you able to get to a point? I mean, after going through so many different experiences, I know you'll continue to share your story. How did you get to a point where you were able to recognize your kingship and say, hey, listen, my mess really is something that I can use as the ingredient to feed somebody some medicine, some food to help them to transform?
Yeah, again, another powerful, great question, Jerry. What I realized, so in this spiritual practice of the Hare Krishna faith, no one was able to tell me how to apply it to my lifestyle. But what I did receive was the name and the meaning behind my name. So Arjuna was, in terms of the Bhagavad Gita and this philosophy, Arjuna was God's best friend. Right. So he was a spiritual warrior. And slowly it started to make sense as I got a little older. But when I was young, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. But just like, some of us were raised in the church, and you would have the pastor or the bishop would come and prophesy over who right? Oh, you're going to be a man of God and do all these things. So that was who Arjuna was prophesied over me, right? But I never understood how, because of the texture of this specific religion, it didn't look. I didn't see one that looked like me. So I'm like, how is that working? You know, the storyline and the plots didn't match. You know, they talk about bows and arrows and swords, and I'm like, well, we got M16s and Uzis over here, so talk to me. So what happened was, one day, you know, like I said, I just kept feeling this heaviness, but somehow the meaning behind my name just kept me in the game, to be honest. And there was just certain qualities that I had from my mother and my father, in terms of my father was hard-headed, my mother was hard-headed, to, you know, how they were raised. So some of their characteristics is why I kept fighting. I was like, you know what, this stuff is breaking me down. You know, I'm feeling all out of sorts. But a part of me was like, I can't be defeated though. I can't let this break me. Some of the things you've been through, Arjuna, you cannot let this break you, right? An experience versus a feeling versus certain experiences, right? So I'm feeling a certain way, but I had certain experiences that I'm like, most people wouldn't survive this. And so from there, I was like, well, if you survive this, and you know most people wouldn't, especially where you come from, then we got to figure out how to get you to the other side so you can talk about this, because you know you're not alone. And when I started playing with that, you know, and eventually it became to where it was where I could speak it. I didn't have all the words, but I just knew how to say the things that I was feeling.
So what I'm hearing is, I love what you're talking about, Arjuna. It's like you almost started to change the narrative and the stories that you're telling yourself. You know, you started to attach to something bigger. Instead of looking at your circumstance and living your destiny based upon your past and the things you're going through, you attached your future based upon your name, the meaning of your name, and that became the anchor for telling yourself new stories. That's what I think I'm hearing.
Yeah,
when you're going through this process. Is that correct?
Yeah, because, you know, there was the hood life, right? There was the inner city life. Everybody was going through that, but I was the only one that had these experiences talking about Hinduism and this specific religion. Well, the way they title it, it's the International Society of the Hare Krishnas. So I'm meeting people from all walks of life: Tibetan Buddhism monks, Judaism. I'm meeting all these different spiritual groups from all over the world. I'm seeing people. Now, even though I can't leave the east side of Detroit, I'm seeing different aspects of life through these people. I'm hearing about their cultures and different things. So I got a different window. I got to see out, you know, I got a glimpse of a whole nother lifestyle. Even though I didn't leave Detroit yet and I hadn't been to these places, I know they exist because of the people that I'm seeing. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, even though I don't know how to get there, I'm like, there's something more than what you've been seeing to this point.
I love that. That. Yeah, that's special.
Wow.
So let me ask you this. You know, we're going to talk, of course, about success through hard work, but, you know, what would you say to, you know, the fellas right now in this community, you know, as you recognize, you say you use something, you change your narrative, you use something, the meaning of your name, your experiences as an anchor to shift. What would you say is a key principle in that particular situation that you would share with the fellas that are going through something right now? Maybe they deal with something in their life. Maybe they've had some trauma in their past that they haven't spoke about, or they're feeling some shame or guilt or whatever. What would you say if they maybe not doing well in their business? What is the thing that you can share with them to help them to shift? What the one thing that you say that you can do today to shift?
Powerful question. I'm glad you asked it. I literally just got back from Detroit this morning. I'm on the east side where, you know, the idea is, you know, everybody carries weapons, you know, to protect themselves. And a lot of the areas where I used to frequent, do the things I did, you know, these guys are much older now, but I'm seeing their kids, you know. And so one of the questions that I asked, just how you asked me, was if this is what we had to experience, right? Some of you guys have been here. I'm seeing you guys years later still doing the exact same thing, you know. And so the question that came up was, obviously, if you're still here, no judgment, right? If you're still doing these same things, that means something in your life has not yet triggered a different perspective on what you're experiencing. Now, you may have thought of something differently, But when I say trigger, I mean something in your life has not yet prompted you or pushed you in a way where you're like, you know what? Even though this is my reality right now, right? Living on the east side, doing the things, carrying guns, whatever I got to do to protect myself and my family, I haven't yet experienced something that has really allowed me to see myself outside of this reality yet. And so one of the questions that I asked a brother yesterday, he was trying to encourage me that I had to move around Detroit with a firearm. Not just a regular firearm, but he's like, well, you know, I ride around with an AR-15. I said, man, brother, how do you really feel about that? And just from asking that one powerful question, how do you really feel? What I feel, men from my background at least, nobody really has asked us how we feel about the terms and conditions we're in. Things are placed on us. Certain perspectives and narratives have been placed on us, and then we're just supposed to roll with it. But nobody has said, hey, my man, how do you really feel about having to ride around with an AR-15? Right? Like, knowing that you've seen movies, there's other things out there in the world. Now, you may not believe that that's for you, but just knowing that there's another reality, how do you feel about the one that you're currently living? And for me, what I know, when you ask yourself powerful questions, well, what's going to have to happen is there's going to have to be a powerful answer that's going to require a powerful shift. I know from being incarcerated and talking to men about these types of questions and shifts, the shame piece makes you feel that shift doesn't apply to you. Because you've been carrying this shame for so long. You've been hearing it for so long. You know, being taught, put that back. I don't have enough. That costs too much. But yet, now I'm a grown man with a family. I'm supposed to be a successful human being. Yeah, I've been taught the whole time that it don't exist for me. I don't have enough. Right? So
that's
for me,
good, man.
The answer, so to straight answer your question is, men, when we are in, you know, when we get up every day, just ask yourself the question: if I could change, if I could do this, not how, but if I could actually do this, what would be some things that I could, you know, bring into my consciousness? One of the things that I learned on this journey is that we fault people for certain behaviors and actions, but the part that we don't consider is, how can I expect you to think a certain way if this has never been exposed to your consciousness? And so what I got to do, what was different for me, was growing up in the Hare Krishna movement, my consciousness was exposed to so many other things than just what the community environment was like. And so from having that exposure, now I can start thinking certain things. If it's not here, right, your thoughts become your reality. But if this new level of what we're talking about, this mind elevation or this heart work, has never hit my consciousness, how can I even start to entertain that conversation?
Yeah. It's a different language altogether. It doesn't even make sense whatsoever. It reminds me of when I heard Eric Thomas talk about the reality of kids who grew up seeing their brothers, their cousins, their dads go into drugs or go into the streets or do whatever. And then somebody to come and say, well, why don't you go to college? Just like college. I don't even know. That's not even a reality for me. I've never seen anybody go to college. And then you flip the script on that. You go somebody who's actually been to college or their family's been to college. And that's like a normal thing. You finish high school and then you go to college and you tell them, okay, you're about to finish high school now. Are you going to go sell drugs? They're like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never seen that before. Right. So like that's what that reminds me of when you say that. And here's an interesting thing too. And you talk about going back, Arjuna, and doing some work there. I think the way that I envision it is that you're somewhat the person when you go back to be able to say, hey guys, there's more, right? There's more out there available. And here's the interesting thing I want to know is that I also understand that in order for them to even think like that, there's got to be some work that's done right there and then. Yeah. Not like, hey, I'm going to take you somewhere and go, but hey, you can start that work right now. And that's what we wanted to talk about tonight is that heart work that we can start right here, right now. Yeah. Talk about that for a bit.
Yeah, well, thank you. one of the things so there's three things that I stand on that I address when I talk to men. I don't care what color you are as a man, but it's just three things. The first thing is I'll ask a man, is you have a heart? What else does it serve besides just beating and keeping you alive? Why else do we have a heart as a man? Right? So I pause there. That's one question I lean in. Second thing is, we know this for a fact. If the heart's not in it, right? We always say, do what you love, follow your heart. Well, if your heart's not in it, how do you expect your mind to stay in it? Right? Because there's so many things coming, right? There's always next, there's next. So if I know, right, if my heart ain't in it, it's only a matter of time before the next big thing comes through and it's going to grab my attention. So these are just things that I was aware of through my own journey. So if your heart's not in it, how you expect your mind to stay in it? And then the third thing is, if you really go back and look at all the greats, right, all the people that were making moves as far as men, that were making powerful statements and moves, they did what was on their heart. It wasn't all mind, right? It took the heart. It's a language that we don't talk about, but through men. Because what happens when you walk into a room full of men and they're strangers, the first thing that comes up is the assessment. You could be a confident man. We talked about confidence, but there's no way. If we had to be honest, you go in that gym, right? We step in the gym, you scan that room. Okay, there goes the one. Those type of brothers over there, they serious about getting money. And you got the brothers that's over here in the mirror doing anything. So we assess each other. It happens, right? But then there's something that happens between us as men that we don't speak on often. The only time you feel safe around a dude is if you feel that dude kind of lets you in, or that man lets you in on some level of vulnerability. Because when we're here as men, now we'll play the game real good. We guard it. It's like playing basketball. Let me keep you out here off the paint. I'm only gonna come in the paint with you if I feel some level of say. I gotta feel, and it doesn't have to be anything positive. Just let me know that you let me in.
That's good.
Wow. You know, in this community, we talk a lot about being authentic and heart level and vulnerability, and certainly it's something that's shifting among the community members here in Confidence Factor, because it's an outside. That's not something that we talk about, or we don't engage in that. In fact, vulnerability for many cases is very dangerous in some people's mind. To be vulnerable, to allow people to in, that's a very dangerous situation. So how have you found vulnerability, and truly has it allowed you to connect more? What is the narrative now, or the experience that you've had now being more vulnerable versus the old thought process of, vulnerability means I'm going to be weak and I can't be vulnerable, connect with people. What has been your experience like with that?
I can speak to it from real time. I'll use this whole situation, this circumstance right now as an example. I come here, I read everybody's bio. I'm like, man, these are all men who have evolved. They have evolved consciousness. The first thing I can do is come here and say, well, I can meet these men at the level of life that they're playing, or I can sit back and say, well, I'm this happened to me, and already create separation just on my own thinking of how I see myself, right? A lot of times we set ourselves up for failure or disconnect just based on how we observe ourselves in the eyes of other men, right? So for me, is if I know I'm coming into a space where there's elevated men with an elevated consciousness, I expect to feel a certain way, but not from a place of that you're here to do something to me. If I know that you are thinking a different way that I think, I'm coming here as a student. Actually, I want to be challenged. Help me understand. Help me see the world through your eyes. Because I know I've been doing this for 20 plus years, or however long I've been doing this, it hasn't gotten me anywhere, and I'm still on the same hamster wheel. So it behooves me, Lamont, to be able to say, hey, share something with me, Dr. Love, that can open me up. Sprinkle me with something that can elevate my consciousness. Because obviously I've been doing this other thing for so long. So I feel like, as men, when we walk into certain spaces, we've been taught to see the opposite, the other male, as a threat off the top. It's almost like there's science behind it. The way we see each other, as there's a level of humanness, but they also say there's an animalistic nature that humans have. Protect, right? But if I know my intentions is to come here to be a student, learn, and connect, I don't need to have a guard up. What are you coming to take from me? So there are certain questions I just ask myself before I step into a room. Right?
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I know Dr. Love Jones, you had a question, man, for June. Go ahead and ask the question, man. So far, man, listen, and before you go, I just want to acknowledge the fellas that are already in the building, listening to this conversation. We honor you guys. Put hashtag heart level, push hashtag heart level. We have the great Arjuna sharing his life experiences, some of his principles that as he's been, helping to coach and train men to feel, right? To feel and transform. That's so key. I love what you talk about in getting to the heart, not just to the head. So solid. Definitely. So let us know what you've been learning in the comment section. If you're feeling what Arjuna is talking about, let us know that you're tapped in, tuned into the conversation. You are feeling, my brother. You're connecting what he's sharing and making commitments to do things different so you can have levels of transformation. Go ahead, Dr. Jones.
It was going. All right. All right. So I heard your story, right? There's a couple of things I can relate to. Being in special ed, I can relate to. I was on the opposite side because I worked in the psych ward, but I seen a lot that went on there too. So I can relate to those two things. But then you had a couple other things I can honestly say I do not relate to.
Okay.
But I know those two things impacted me so much that caused me to shift, right? Yeah. So my question to you is this. What are the steps? Because everybody's going through something, some form. Somebody out there is listening to this has went through worse than what any of us went through. But what could you say to those people on the steps or the things that you did that got you to the place now that you can share and stand in that story without feeling like it's a threat or hurting you? How do you, the best way I can put it is this. How do you help? What tips can you help for someone else to find peace with their own journey or the things that they experience on their journey?
Yeah. It sounds simple, but it's very complex. One of the first things, I would share for me was say the thing, right? What you find is that most people are carrying things that they never spoke about. That's holding. One of the things I was taught from one of my coaches was you are not your worst mistake, Arjuna. How many of us have not given ourselves permission to even address that thing that we did that speaks to us at night? I learned that from being incarcerated. Come 1, 2 in the morning, you would hear the same guys that were walking around bullying or doing the things. And then at 2 o'clock in the morning, you hear that dude sniffling and crying in his cell. And it's like, So what I started doing was asking certain questions. So say the thing. Once you start talking, you don't have to have the words. I know there's this thing, I don't know how to communicate. I wasn't taught how to communicate my feelings and emotions. True. We get caught up on how it has to sound. But once you could just start talking, letting go, putting that weight, because they say it's not the load, it's how you carry it, right? And then there's another thing I've learned is that words don't teach, they create. Examples teach, right? If that's the case, all the instructions that, or at least for me, that you got from your parents, I wouldn't have gotten as many whippings as I got if words actually taught, right? To a degree, yes, words can teach, but on a deeper level, words don't teach, examples do. So as kids, growing up, we get to see the things. So my thing is to anyone who's just on this journey, who's new, may not have the awareness that we have, is just start saying what it is what's the heaviest. You know what that is. When you sit still, what's the heaviest? Find one person that you can just say what that is. Let it go. And once you see that you can set it down, step back. Just sit it down so for example, here's this cup. Your worst fear, your worst nightmare, your worst thing that you ever did. Sit it down, hand it to somebody, and just step back and see what that feels like. So that's one thing. Second thing, once you start to say the thing, notice you, right? We don't observe ourselves. We're trained to observe what the other person's reaction is to the thing that we're saying, right? So say the thing and then notice what you go through. What's your experience? I'm not focused on how Dr. Love receives what I'm saying. I need to focus on how I feel about the things that I'm saying, because that's where the work starts. Whatever's coming up for you, once you start tapping into that, that's where it starts.
That's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff. One final question for you is: What does a confident man look like for you? What does it mean for a man to be confident in this generation, in this current environment? Whether you're black, white, Spanish, whatever, what does that look like for you? How would you describe that for yourself?
I'm in a few men's groups, and one of the common thread across the board is that in all these spaces, what men have worked towards is being able to just say the thing, right? If I'm, if I'm feeling heartbroken about that relationship, instead of telling you it's all good, I can say, hey man, I really liked her. I cared about her. I made some mistakes in the past, but that caused me this, and now we're here, right? So confidence to me is being able to embrace what it is that you're carrying in that moment, speak to it, and also realize that this is just a situation. It's just a moment. This doesn't make me less than a human being. It does not make me less of a man. It does not make me less valuable, because if you really sit back and look at everything, everybody's going through something. Nobody's exempt from life. So if I'm having this experience, you may not be having it, Rudy, but I know somebody else is, so I'm not alone. But how do I remind myself this when I'm in it? Because that's usually what happens. There's a plethora of tools on YouTube, Google. You can find all the stuff that we're talking about. There's different science-based studies on all these things we're talking about. But it's how can I train myself that when I'm in it, right? It's hard to see the frame, right? The picture when you're in the frame. So how do I train myself that when I'm in it, I have a protocol. And that's when you learn the body, though. You have to learn, because we're only here, but the body keeps score. It'll tell you about all those different experiences. It teaches you.
Right.
So learning the body, learning what it feels like in the nervous system, it's a game changer.
Arjuna,
man.
Let me ask you one quick question about because obviously you started off your conversation with the trauma that you experienced, and you found some sort of pathway that works for you, and we're able to make it to the other side. So now, just with that, we know, just like anything else, we can't just show up to the game and just shoot, right? Yeah. There has to be some type of daily practice or something that you have to do to stay in touch with who it is you believe to be, or how you want to show up in this world. Could you just share maybe with our listening audience, maybe just one thing that you do daily? And I heard you say, you ask those questions to yourself, but can you just share one thing that you do daily that really grounds you, that keeps you really connected and being able to maintain the right perspective on life, so that when you walk out into this world where people are carrying on a regular basis and believe that that's the way they have to live, how do you protect or insulate yourself on a daily basis? Can you share with us one practice?
Meditation. Sitting still. And I know there's so many different stories about it, but what happens is, for me, when I get on I have a little bolster sitting right here to the left of me across the room, that I sit still and I just breathe and I listen. I observe my own thoughts, and I remind myself that, it's cool. You can have all these thoughts, but you've also been through some things that these same thoughts that tried to hold you back then, right? They didn't work. So it's making that space, that commitment to myself every morning to just sit still and hear myself, observe myself. Like I said, we're trained to observe everybody else. What's the common trends, what's things, but just observe yourself. The more you get to know how you function, I can't even speak the benefits of just understanding yourself. A lot of us, as men, especially men, we're trained to focus on what the next man is doing, how the next man is doing things. And when it's time for us to show up for ourselves, we really don't have a clue. Because if you ask them, well, how do you feel? Usually you get, I don't know, or I'm good. Those are the two answers. So just learning yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's huge what you're sharing, right? Because so many times we have this zero-sum mentality, which is I win, if you win, that must mean I must have lost. Whereas, I like to talk about the non-zero-sum game. The non-zero-sum game means basically, look, there's a whole pie here. Technically, we can all eat from the pie if we divvy it up a certain way. So, having, different sports games, it's like, okay, if my team won, then your team must have lost. And so when you carry that mentality over into the real world, that's where we get that competitive mentality from. And it's very difficult, especially sometimes with people who look like us, talk like us, to collaborate on things, right? And we see that's where things are going. I appreciate you sharing the meditation and the need to just really be with self and to really hear, because I hear you saying, hey, all type of thoughts are floating around.
Oh yeah, all the time.
But you need to pick and choose which ones you want, right? So I appreciate you sharing that one technique with our audience. Arjuna, if somebody wants to connect with you, I see the mind elevation behind you, and I see it on the t-shirt there. If you could take a minute and speak to that and let the listening audience know, where can they find you if they want to connect with you, if you said something that resonated with their heart and they're like, man, this brother is, you know, from another mother, right? And they want to just connect and reach out. Where can they find you? What's the best place for them to get in contact with you?
Well, right now, you know, I'm working off of Instagram. I really trying to get hip to all the new technology and the way we're doing things. So Instagram right now, I'm redoing my website. So Instagram, Arjuna_O'Neal. You can find me there. I'm on Facebook, but that's where I'm doing a lot of my interacting, connecting. You can hit me in the bio, or you can DM me. I'm open. I do free consultations all the time. You know, even if it's not to work with me as a paid client, you know, I do make time to listen and hold space for men. So you can reach me there. And in terms of the mind elevation, for me, it's a simple process, but these arrows represent just the different levels. And if you notice the colors, so there's blue and green. They're just different textures. Green represents the heart chakra. Blue represents the throat chakra. Speaking your truth. So these colors, everything I do is very intentional. It's designed. You see the healing lamp. But see, these are things that we were taught. All this stuff is the woo-woo stuff, right? And I ran from it for so many years. But then I'm like, all the people that are having the results and the success that I wanted, these are the models that these are the practices that they're implementing. So I said, again, I looked back, I said, well, if you've done all that these many years, just switch up, try it, see what happens. Let go of they say, have a mind that's open to everything, attached to nothing. Right? Some of us, that's like, well, that's a bit much. But if we had to be real, right? Our mind's been open to all the BS. So it's like, try it up, switch it up. And then the last thing, in terms of the mind elevation, it could be just as simple as, instead of being angry with yourself, just raise the bar. You don't have to be super in love with yourself. Just try to be kind. Just elevate it. And then each day, just try to take a step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what you're sharing, brother. I thoroughly appreciate what you're saying and how you're sharing it. You know, one thing Jim Rohn said, and when I first heard it, I was like, man, if Jim Rohn was alive, I'd probably punch him in the stomach. But he said, don't wish you were easy. Yeah. Wish you were better, right? And that's powerful right there, right? Because when you really think about how we really want to show up, it's not, you know, me asserting myself over another man. It's me asserting myself over my obstacles, my adversity, my situation, my complexities. If I can elevate myself above that. So Jim Rohn said, don't wish that was easy. Wish you were better. And I went back and I tested. I always say, that sounds good, but is it true? And so I tested. I went back. I look at every situation. I said, now, B, let me ask you a question now. You said it earlier, Jim. You said, ask better questions, right? Yeah. You're going to get better answers. So I asked myself, I said, B, man, is what Jim Rohn's saying true? And I went back to each situation. I say, now, if you were better, would that have happened? Would you have had that outcome? And the answer was obviously not each and every time. So I said, I want to punch Jim Rohn because that true hurts, baby. But you just said it, brother. You know, don't wish you was easy. Wish you were better. And the truth is that genius lies on the inside of all of us. And it's just waiting to shine through. And when you get around the right people, it's going to shine through a lot easier and a lot faster. Arjuna, we thank you for joining us tonight, man. You shared some very profound things. If you get a chance, please go in the comments. I know a lot of people are getting a lot of feedback I'm seeing over here in relation to some of the things you shared tonight. But we want to put you backstage. Don't leave us. Stay backstage because we want to chat with you after the show. Meanwhile, the fellas are going to come up for a second. Arjuna, we want to say heart level to you. Give you a quick heart level, brother. Heart level. Yeah. And we'll talk to you in just a few minutes. Listen, man, Rudy, what's up, bro? Man, bro, that
powerful.
Boy, powerful. Talk to me, man.
Hey, you know your boy says all the time, life work is mind work. You know, it's the mind, man. It's the mind. Les Brown talks about, man, I may have this going on with my body and that going on with my body, but as long as my mind is still good, man, I'll keep rolling. It's the mind, bro. The mind.
Yeah. Lamont, talk to me.
Man, you know, one of my biggest takeaways is, what is the purpose of your heart besides just beating your chest? Whew, what a question. What a question to ask somebody.
Wow.
So, I really honor this brother because, before the show, he says, listen, ask me anything.
Yeah,
brother.
He said it. He said it too. He said nothing. He said nothing off limits. I said, "This is a bold man. He done seen some things and been through some things."
Right. What a life. But one of the things that I really appreciated about Arjuna, and as I listened to him, is because of his spiritual background, his higher self was always speaking to him. And because of that, because his higher self was always there, he was able to have those conversations with himself. And now his higher self, actually, that name, it played out for him in his life, right? And it became that prophecy over his life, although he had no idea he was going to go through all those adversities, that he became his name.
It's powerful, man. Hey, man, when that prophecy hit, you be feeling good. They be spitting. Hey, you gonna have all the money, and you like, yeah. What they really saying is, boy, you about to get it. Life about to get you, boy. If you only knew, right? But it's the hero's journey. It's what we all have to go through.
Right.
Javon, talk to us a little bit before we close it out, brother.
Listen, I think the one thing I could take away of this is asking yourself those difficult questions and always seeing how you're feeling about those questions, right? I think those are the key takeaways I take from that, because a lot of times, and I can say it myself, I be speaking, I be wondering like what they saying, what y'all thinking, and not realizing that it's how I feel. And there are times when I'm really tapped in and tuned in, I know how I truly feel. So that's my takeaway. And one of the things I want to add to what Lamont just said is that's when they say, when God picks his people to go through certain things, and it's because when you have a purpose attached, you have a big purpose, you got to go through some things, because there's some people you got to save that you need to save from them same things you have to go through. So his story is a testament that how he was divine and destined for something big, and the things he went through was the path that he needed to go through so he could save many what they're doing. So
appreciate you sharing that, brother. Listen, man, Rudy, we got something huge coming up. Listen, this is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting all year for this, man. We are at it's next week.
Sunday,
launch day.
Sunday.
Sunday, man. Unleash Your Riches is finally here. And I want to say,
yes, sir.
I want to say this, man, because this brother Arjuna just came on here. He just talked about it. What I heard him talk about, if I had to sum it up, he's talking about authenticity, right? Showing up your authentic self. Look, bro, this is where I'm at. Deal with it or not. Like, it's on you, right? Just being your authentic self. And the second thing I heard was vulnerability, which is the same portion, which is this is where I'm at, man. I don't really want to tell you where I'm at, but this is where I'm at. So I want to speak to like the Unleash Your Riches and the powerful, thing that we talk about when it comes to SMART principles about that accountability and having a community. That is so, so key. Lamont, I want to give a huge shout out and a big old heart level to Lamont, right? Because I had a conversation. Lamont asked me the same question that Arjuna was speaking about earlier. He said, you just get on, you say, hey, how you feeling? How you doing? So Lamont asked me a question. I was in mode. I was just in receptive mode because I needed to figure something out. I needed to put 8,000 points on the board, and I couldn't figure out how to put the 8,000 points on the board, right? So I'm talking to Lamont, and Lamont just sitting there listening to me. I'm sharing my heart. The brother's listening. He's listening. He's like, okay. And so we just came into agreement, man. We didn't have an answer. We came into agreement that it is done, it is finished, and so be it. And let me tell you guys how powerful this was. This was just fantastic. Lamont is a great money manifester. He joined some of that power with me. I thank you, Lamont. He is listen, you want to manifest some money, call Lamont. That's just go call Lamont, you'll manifest some money. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. In less than 24 hours, I put 500 points on the board. I only had 8,000 points left. And I was like, how am I going to do these 8,000 points? And Lamont showed me how to get 500 points in the game in 24 hours. Listen, hey, where's Darian now? We'll bring Darian here too. Listen, I didn't shovel nothing. I didn't move nothing. I didn't push I went to sleep. I woke up. I got a text. Lamont said, hey, 1, 2, 3. I said, really? I said, 1, 2, 3. I said, oh, snap, it worked. Just like that, bro. It was so, listen, this is Lamont's favorite term. Easy and relax.
And relax.
Gotta be easy and relax.
Baby. Yeah.
Bro,
you ain't grinding. There's no grinding.
He said, if it's not easy and relaxed, I don't want it. I don't want to do it, right? And I said, man, in less than 24 hours, just from a conversation, I'm like, I'm closer to my goal. And let me tell you why that's so important. Because we all here believe this. Earl Nightingale said, that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The thing that I'm pursuing is worthy to me. And I'm like, I'm almost there. But I ran into a little bump, a little adversity, a little obstacle. I couldn't figure out how to do it. And all Lamont said was, how you doing? How you feeling? I said, bro, I got this right here, man. And I'm like all tangled up in it, right? And Lamont says, listen, man, he's all relaxed and chilling. And the next day I get hit. Hey, do 1, 2, 3. I said, I'm going to do it. 1, 2, 3. I said, oh, snap. I called him. I said, hey, bro, that shit worked. Anyway, that's my authentic, real, straightforward, vulnerable plug for Unleash Your Riches. You need a community of people you can call that's been there, done that, and really got the t-shirt. And they're going to be like, bro, go out of here, make a left, hit a right. You're going to see a lady with one shoe on. Don't go past her and hit the next left. Go 200 yards. You'll see the little Jello stand. Cross past him is right behind there under the tree. And if you get there and you get it, you like, man, that's why I love that brother right there. He gives them awesome direction. So I said all that, in jest, right? But I'm so serious is that it means the world when you have a goal or something in your heart and you're trying, you're really trying to get there. And if somebody picks up the phone or you get in a Zoom call or you get with another brother and they're like, oh, bro, you trying to do what? Man, I've been down that path. I got you. And they're able to help you with an answer. And in less than 24 hours, I made progress. I have another step. My dream is I'm closer to being realized, right? And that's what we want. We're looking for that feeling, like the brother Arjuna was saying. We get detached from I want to feel good. I want to feel something. I don't want to feel ashamed anymore. I don't want to feel guilt. I don't want to feel the burden anymore. I want other feelings. And it's a beautiful thing when you can see brothers getting together, talking, chopping it up, and providing real solutions. Like at the start of the show, Darian was talking about the brother who made a major move. His life is changed. He's more free. We're all searching for time freedom. We're searching for money freedom, right? And we're searching for expression freedom. And those are the things I'm very happy to have found those here at Confidence Factor. And I'm urging every guy, if you're working on the dream, if you're working on the goal, if you just want to put some more points on the board, I'm telling you, these brothers can help you put more points on the board. They know what they're doing. This is firsthand knowledge. I done watched Rudy take it down the court and score. I done seen Darian do the crossover and score. Javon is out with his book, setting up tables out in the street, scoring. Lamont is behind this camera, scoring. These guys are doing it for real. So that's my plug for Unleash Your Riches. I wanted to share that because bro, it was so easy and relaxed. I was like, bro, if it could just be like this every single day, just like a real long, beautiful wave, that'd be beautiful, right? No obstacles. Your boy hooked you up.
So let me say this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. So it's easy, relaxed, and legal. So let me just those are my three things: easy, relaxed, and legal. All right.
So here's the plug, right? Here's the plug. So I'm glad you said it because my wife said no. I'm gonna make sure I'm very clear on this. Whenever you hear me speaking, it's always LEM. I want you to think of LEM or think of MEL, MEL or LEM, right? Legal, ethical, and moral. So we don't have to go get confused about what we're talking about. It's always Lim. I'm with my boy Lim. He's always on my side. Legal, ethical, and moral. I'm with you.
Exactly. And so what I want to do right now is I just want to honor you, brothers. Because over the last year, we have put in some hours. We've put in some major hours on this program. We have gone through, we have tested it, we have questioned, and we've really gone through as a unit to make sure that this program is going to unleash the brothers, right? We have really put in some hours. So I want to honor you all for the time and effort that you put into this, because what we're about to do come Sunday, we're about to launch. And any brother who is on the fence, come launch with us. Just come launch with us. Let this happen, and watch what will happen after doing this 90-day program. So that's my plug. We put in some hard work on this. We got a stellar program with a lot of great things in it for those who join. So come join Unleash Your Riches. Go to www.confidencefactor.com. Join today.
And let me plug in one thing real quick before we wrap up or before we go. The thing I want people to understand is this. You see me. I don't have a grin on my face. No shot at anybody. I'm clearly the youngest person on here, right? I benefit from being in this circle. Like, I feel privileged. And the reason why is because this shift that's happened in my life, I've always heard you really say, man, I wish I was your age, right? I always hear that because I get the chance to learn from guys who's walked the path I'm walking right now. They've done it. They've went there. They've probably walked it they probably lapped it a couple of times in the process, right? And I think that's the thing that makes Unleash Your Riches such a valuable commodity, because if somebody might be younger that's watching this, this might be somebody that's at that age, at that point, that still needs that lesson. There's no discrimination. All it is a desire. If you have a desire for greatness, you have a desire for want to be great, you have a desire, you want to do something amazing, you have a desire to achieve something bigger than what your mind can visually imagine, this is the place you need to be, because I'm doing it. The things that I'm doing right now, I can have seen myself doing it years ago. So the things that you don't see yourself doing, you need to be here, and you'll see how the vision that you have for your life will just explode.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just real quick, one of the things that Arjuna shared, I'm going to say this. He said, see yourself outside the situation you are currently in, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to have shifts in your life, that's where you start, to be able to see yourself outside the situation that you're in. And when I think about Unleash Your Riches, we're going to give every person in the mastermind new eyes, new visions, new perspectives to see their life in a totally different way, right? To help you guys to see yourself outside the current situation that you're in. So maybe for some of you guys, the current situation that you're in right now is to say, you know what, but I don't have the investment right now to join Unleash Your Riches. Listen, you can't not join the Unleash Your Riches challenge. If you're in a situation where you're saying, hey, I can't do it, that's why you need to do it, right? Or maybe you're saying you don't have the time. Maybe you're saying you don't have the time. That's the reason why you need to do it. Right? Every situation that you're in right now, if you want something different than what your current situation is, that's the reason why you do it. Any excuse that you're giving yourself, any reason you're giving yourself for not doing it, that's the reason why you need to do the Unleash Your Riches mastermind, right? And we always have to remember that change is going to require an investment of ourselves, an investment in ourselves, right? It's always going to require investment in yourself. But we've put together a program for 90 days that's really, I'll be honest with you, is way underpriced. It's way underpriced. I'm not even fronting. We got guys on this program. You want to keep it real? We got guys in this program that's on the stage, and I'm not gonna call anybody that's invested $6,000 in their business, $13,000 in their business, $20,000 in their business for coaching. Listen, I'm keeping it real. If the program is $300, $97 a month. Fellas, if you guys seen the work that we've done, the caliber of people that
look. Look at Lamont's face.
281.
It's 281.
281.
I'm sorry, 281. 281. Fellas, if you guys see the caliber of people that we brought in here in this community, the kind of insight that you can get, we're going to have coaches that's coming on to teach you guys specific things to be able to transform your life and your business. I got to tell you right now, just having them on the call is worth way more. I mean, multiple times what we're charging. We are way grossly on the charge. And I have no reservations in saying that. None at all. So listen, I don't care what it's time, whatever your reason is. If you want something different in your life and you want to be in a different place in 90 days, join us. You're going to have the opportunity to make that shift. We're already set the stage for you to transform. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the community. I look forward to seeing you guys continue to engage with each other in this community and be able to continue to transform and support what we're doing here in Confidence Factor. You guys see the transformation. We're serious about having men elevate. We're serious about having men level up. We're serious about having men to be able to develop themselves and become a better version of themselves, or the version that they see in their head that they're chasing, right? We want to help you and support you guys on that journey. So again, go to confidencefactor.com. That's the 90-day Unleash Your Riches, and we'll see you guys soon. Inside. We start this Sunday, the 28th. We look forward to seeing you guys in the program.
Any
All
questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us via Facebook as well. You can find us all on Facebook as well. So that's it. Everybody's complete.
Absolutely.
We close out tonight. We appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. Tonight's inspiration injection is getting rich isn't about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. Science of getting rich. Appreciate you guys for joining us. We say in everything that you do, make sure that you keep it
high level.
See you guys next week.